Hey, what's good, everybody? It's Woodrow, and as you can see, we are looking at the DC Connect catalog. I'm gonna switch it up this month. You know, I do it a little different each month depending on how I'm feeling. I'm gonna go through DC Connect and Marvel previews in one video, and then we'll do the other stuff in another. Sometimes I do DC and Marvel separately, but honestly, both catalogs are, pretty straightforward this month. I don't know, there's a lot of discussion in terms of like new books or new ideas, so we're just gonna dive right in, okay? Now with that said, as you can see on this cover, this is a book I didn't expect to see. It is Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. So yeah, I mean that's definitely a deep cut. I don't know. I'm not sure I care enough about this, but I'm sure Vince will read it, and if he loves it, then I'll give it a try. It's written by Brian Bucoletto, who I think is an okay writer, and Christian Duce, whose art doesn't particularly move me. It's totally competent, but it's not like a draw for me. I'm not really reading any of the Batman stuff right now other than Nightwing, so I don't have much comment. There's as is always the case, there's some kind of like event going on that runs through all the books. Gotham War, as you can see, it looks like Batman is fighting with Dick Grayson. I don't know why. I don't know the lead up to this. I haven't been reading Batman since Tynion left. So I'm not going to have much to say about any of these. Nightwing, I do continue to enjoy very much. I do prefer the issues generally where Bruno Redondo is drawing. I don't offhand know much about Daniele Dan Nicolo, but I still very much like the title. Birds of Prey, we had Kelly Thompson on a few weeks ago on the podcast, and you heard from Kelly how excited she is to be doing the book and how excited David and I are for the book as well. Very much looking forward to this when it hits the stands. I guess the first issue will be out in a month or so. There's a thing here, the new Golden Age. I guess it's just they're calling attention to some of the JSA Golden Age characters that we haven't seen prominently featured in a bit. I've never been a huge Wesley Dodds fan per se. We did a book of the month not too long ago when we looked at Sandman Mystery Theater, and that was pretty good. Probably the best the character's ever been done, at least in modern comics. This is written by Robert Venditti with art by Riley Rossmo. The Rossmo art is enough to draw me into this. This is a 6-issue miniseries, so I will at least give the first issue a try. And as you can see, they have a couple other characters. They're doing these 6-issue miniseries. The Jay Garrick Flash is not something that really draws me in. It's written by Jeremy Adams with art by Diego Orletugui. Don't really have a strong pull for either of those creators. And then Alan Scott Green Lantern. I don't know much about the writer Tim Sheridan, but it's cool to see Sean Tormey getting a big book. I've known his work through some Irish friends of mine. He's an Irish artist for a long time, and have commissioned from him, and I think he's talented, so I like to see that. I'll probably give that a try. Amazon's Attack, I'm definitely going to give a try. Josie Campbell on the writing and Vasco Georgiev on art. I think Vasco's very talented, definitely on the come up. And this is a bunch of non-Wonder Woman Amazonians in a team book. It is again, probably not the kind of thing that's going to last a long time, right, in today's market. I doubt we're going to have 50 issues of Amazon's Attack, but if we can get 12 issues and it's well done, I'm here for it. So I'll give that one a try. Certainly on board the Wonder Woman, as we talked about last month. Tom King is writing it with Daniel St. Pierre on art. And then the same team that's doing Amazon's Attack, Josie Campbell and Vasco Georgiev, are doing a backup in this, which I assume is a lead-in to this aforementioned Amazon's Attack book. Superman, they're doing a double billing here. It is Superman number 7, but it also, I guess, linearly is number 850 of all time. So they're playing that up. You've got Josh Williamson with art by Gleb Melnikoff and Dan Jurgens, among others. I've been enjoying Superman under Williamson's watch, and will continue to get it until I'm not. Not really into either of these. I am reading World's Finest, but I'm way behind. I'm like at least 10 issues behind, so I can't really speak to it one way or the other. I do like Mark Waid as a writer, obviously, and I think Dan Moore is a great artist, so I'm sure this is still good. I'm so far behind, it's hard for me to really speak to it. Nothing on these pages. I tried Hawkgirl number 1, and I just was not pulled into it in any way. It just didn't grip me. So that's a one and done for me. Same thing with Shazam. I tried the first issue because it was Wade and Mora, and it just I don't care enough about the characters, so I'm out on both of those. Titans, similarly to the other two, Titans #1 didn't really like pull me in hard, but I thought it was okay. Like, I didn't dislike it either, and I'm here for the team of Tom Taylor and Nicola Scott, so I'm going to keep reading that one and hope that it reels me in the subsequent issues. Green Lantern, that #1 did absolutely nothing for me, so I'm out on that, another one and done. I guess you're sensing a trend here. I was pretty excited, if you go back a few months in these videos, that we were getting a pretty significant reboot of titles and teams at DC, and I was going to try them all, and as a man of my word, I have tried them all, but unfortunately most of them weren't compelling enough for me to keep going. So Green Lantern is another one that I tried and I'm not going to continue with. And then Green Lantern War Journal, I don't know if we talked about the first issue solicit last month or not, can't remember. This is a thing where I like the character a lot, like Jonathan Stewart, so I'm definitely intrigued by the idea of this book, but Philip Kennedy Johnson is just not really ever written anything that I've cared about too much, and I've tried most of his stuff. And I don't know the artist Montos, could be great, could be not, I don't know. So not really a draw for me. And I am reading this Fire and Ice book because Terry Dodson is doing the covers, and our boy Greg Smallwood's doing covers, and Joanne Starrer is doing the interior art. So I'm here for that, visually at least, and I hope I'm rewarded, because obviously I'm pre-ordering this. It's a 6-issue miniseries, so I'll have pre-ordered 3 of the issues before I've read one of them, which could set you up for disappointment, but fingers crossed. Green Arrow and Unstoppable Doom Patrol are both on my list. This is the 7th and final issue of the Unstoppable Doom Patrol. I feel like I'm literally the only person talking about this book. I think it's fantastic, but I don't sense that there's any broad buzz for it, which is why it's going to end at 7 issues. I was hoping we might get a continuation if it was successful. Oh well, what can you do? At least I'm enjoying it. And Green Arrow, like the first issue, haven't read the second yet, but like the character, like Josh Williamson a lot, and I very much like Sean Azakse as the artist, so here for all of that. They're doing a little thing for Return of the Superman's 30th anniversary, but I didn't care about the event 30 years ago, so I don't know why I'd care about the anniversary. This is an interesting one. And Christian Ward is an artist and a writer that I find intriguing. I think he takes chances. I think he's a more interesting artist than he's a writer, if I'm being honest. This is written and drawn by him. It's called Batman City of Madness. It is one of 3 issues. These are 48-page prestige format books. So it's kind of like a normal 6-issue limited series. I'm going to definitely try this simply because I find Ward engaging. I think at a minimum, I'm going to get really inspired artwork, and hopefully his writing chops are up to snuff such that we get a whole package. We've got your collected editions. I'm generally not much for DC collected editions. I am hoping we get a Danger Street 12-issue hardcover at some point, but that's a long way off based on the pacing of that book. And yeah. So again, some more solicits of collections. And then we've got, I guess, what you would call the other books, the books that they do in small solicit size. You've got Peacekeeper Tries Hard, number 6 of 6. That's been just an awesome series. Another feather in Kyle Starks' cap. Kyle Starks is definitely in the running for my Writer of the Year based on all the different works he's done at different publishers and how I've pretty much loved them all. Danger Street number 10, which is 10 of 12. So we're getting there. Well, we got a few more months until it's wrapped up. And I read the first issue and decided, like with all Tom King 12-issue maxi series, I would just wait until it's all done and then read it in one fell swoop, because generally when I do that, I'm blown away. Another book that I feel like I'm into, but not many other people are, is the Batman White Knight Presents Generation Joker. That's number 6 of 6, so it wraps up yet another in what is turning out to be a very long line of Batman White Knight books under Sean Murphy's watch. This one is, he did the story. It's written by his wife Katana Collins and Clay McCormick, and the art is by Mirka Andolfo. One thing you have to say about the Sean Murphy verse is he gets incredible artists to draw the books, even when he's not drawing them himself. So let's see, I don't think, nope, not reading any of these. We've got some more collected editions. don't think it's anything that I'm into. A lot of Bat books, either already have them or I don't need them. Same thing here. There's some pretty classic stuff here. Infinite Crisis obviously is always a great read, but I'm sure like most of you have it in other forms. You've got a new Invisibles collection, so if you don't have Invisibles, certainly that's worth your consideration, but again, I think many of us have it in other forms. And that'll do it. So let's jump right into the Marvel. And I will say it is much, much thicker. It's probably, I guess, 4 times as thick as the DC, which is interesting. But on the cover is the book probably I am most excited for, and we'll get to that back in a second. But we've got some preview pages of Gods #1, which is the big Hickman book of the moment. It's GODS. Remember, he wrote one of his first Marvel books was S.H.I.E.L.D. Without the periods. So it's funny now we have Gods with the periods. This is by Hickman and Valerio Schiti, who's one of Marvel's go-to artists of late. And if you're wondering what this is about, it says he's reinventing the cosmology of the Marvel Universe. And you have to give Hickman credit. I mean, he always goes big, right? He's taken stabs at all the major Marvel IP, most recently wrapping up a all-time great reimagining of the mutant part of the Marvel Universe. And he was drawn into relaunching the Ultimate Universe this last few months, which, as I understand it now, wasn't actually intentional. But Donny Cates was supposed to be doing that, and he had some health issues, so Hickman kind of came in to save the day. But that's neither here nor there. He's now taking a stake at Marvel Magic, which is great stuff. It says the infinite detente between the natural order of things and the powers that be nears an end. Old acquaintances are reunited during a Babylon event. The Lion of Wolves throws the worst parties. Don't look under the table. There's a John Wilkes Booth penny on the ground. This enormous, extra-sized first issue features Doctor Strange, who, while not boring at all, is easily the most boring person in this book. Bold, curious, orthogonal, solicit. That's exactly the kind of thing I'm here for. I talk a lot these days about after how I've been reading Marvel and DC Comics for so many decades that most of it feels very forgettable to me now. And so it's these moments where you get something truly different or unique or unexpected that gets you excited. And I have very high hopes that this is another one of those moments. We've got a new Captain Marvel, which you knew was coming because Kelly Thompson just wrapped up her awesome run. Alyssa Wong and Jan Bazaldua are the team. Not sure I'm feeling this new costume, which they're bigging up as her new digs. I guess it was designed by Jen Bartel. But I don't buy these books for the costume. So that's really not all that germane. I just figured I'd mention it because they were playing up the new costume in the solicit. But I give this a try. It's one of my favorite characters in Marvel. And I realize I don't talk about her or her book a lot on the show because it's just not a lot to say usually, like in the sense that unless I was going to recap the plot for you, I don't know that there's anything groundbreaking about the character. I just tend to like the character. Low bar for me. We all have those characters that are low enough bar that as long as it's good, it doesn't have to be great, we'll read it. And that's where I am with Carol Danvers. So I'll give this a try and get back to you on what I think of it. Unlike what I just said, I'm not getting this one shot. I generally don't buy one shots from the big two anymore because they just feel like cash grabs. Following on the Ultimate Invasion event, if you will, or big book, however you want to characterize it, we've got Ultimate Universe, which we all saw coming. Basically, the Ultimate Universe is back. This is also written by Hickman. Fortunately for all of us, it is drawn by Stefano Caselli. So we all had to deal with the Brian Hitch art in the Ultimate Invasion, which for some is probably fine, but for me was a bit disappointing. And now we don't have to worry about that. We get Stefano Caselli. So definitely going to continue with this. If Hickman wasn't writing this, I probably would just give it a pass. I don't really feel like I need another version of the Marvel Universe to occupy more of my time. But again, Hickman has a tremendous amount of goodwill with me, and so I will continue apace. Spider-Boy. A couple things on this. Dan Slott is back doing a Spider book, which I'm sure is great news for a lot of people. I think Slott is one of a certain generation's favorite Spider auteurs ever. I'm less beholden to him. I think his run was fine. But again, I'd read so many Spider-Man comics. By the time he took over, it didn't probably feel as novel to me as it did to some of you. But either way, I'm sure it's good news for many that he's back doing a Spider book. But it is not Spider-Man. It is not Miles Morales. It is Spider-Boy with art by Paco Medina. and it says, spinning out of the pages of Dan Slott and Mark Bagley's monumental Spider-Man run, here comes the spectacular Spider-Boy. After the events of the end of the Spider-Verse, Spider-Boy's secret history as Spider-Man's sidekick was nearly forgotten, but now the mysteries will be revealed. Interesting that Marvel's going the route that DC used to do historically, where he's having a sidekick. I suspect this won't be long-term. I don't know anything about Spider-Boy. I wasn't reading the Slott Bagley run, the just titular Spider-Man book. I don't think it sold very well. And I don't know anything about it, but it does look like a legitimate little boy, like not like a teenager that's going to be a man in 2 years in his own book. I don't know the story, though. Maybe some of you do. I won't be reading it, but hopefully it's good. Here's one Color Me is like, I don't know why we're getting this, which is Sensational She-Hulk #1. Rainbow Rowell and Jess Gao writing it, Andre Genollet and TBA, the always famous TBA, on the art. They're basically rebooting She-Hulk again. We just rebooted her like what, 15 issues ago, and it's so I'm just not sure why we're doing the reboot. I guess it's because they want to try and respark sales. Maybe it wasn't selling that well, but very confusing, like what the point of it is. But hey, I was enjoying the book that just wrapped up, and so I'll give this a try certainly and see. But I probably say I have very low expectations that I'll continue with it unless the first issue really knocks me over. We've got a 4-issue White Widow miniseries, doesn't do much for me. And then we get into the section of Marvel that is massive and I just don't care about, and that's most of the Spider stuff and certainly the symbiote stuff. We've got a new Carnage #1, no interest. Predator Wolverine, no interest. Honestly, I love Captain America. I've read the vast majority of Captain America comics that have ever existed. I've probably been least excited about a reboot. This is the least I've been excited about a Captain America reboot in a long, long time. JMS was once a writer that I thought was very good. Maybe he'll have the magic back after being out of comics for a long time. But he and Jesus Saez just don't really have me super excited. So we'll see. I'll go try it and see if I'm wrong. I can always be wrong. But right now I'm not particularly excited. And I'm not in on the Saladin Ahmed, Aaron Kuder Daredevil. And here we have issue #3 of the Fully Classified. It's ridiculous. I say to everyone that don't know why they're bothering doing this. This makes no sense. We've got a one-shot of Jeff, which we had Kelly on the show a couple weeks back, and talked about the weird quirky success of Jeff Landshark, and she is back at it. She had mentioned she was doing a book with Guru Hero on it, and this is that book. We've got a Marvel Zombies, Black, White, and Red, and we've got some Halloween-themed books. These can be fun. They're always crapshoots, though, because they're kind of like B or C real stuff, almost like tryout books. We've got a Cast of Shadows, which is like a one-shot kind of anthology joint with a bunch of creators, as you can see, and then Cap Wolf and the Howling Commandos, which is a 4-issue miniseries written by Stephanie Phillips with art by Carlos Magno. Admittedly, I won't be picking up either of these off the shelves. Maybe I'll read them on Marvel Unlimited down the road if they're well received. More stuff. We've got a Hallows Eve one-shot. We've got a 4-issue Halloween-themed Spider-Man book called Spine Tingling Spider-Man. And then we've got the actual Spider-Man book by Zeb Wells, which I am not reading currently. It looks like we've got 1, 2 of those issues. So a lot of these books are bi-weekly right now, which is even crazier to me because there's just so many Spider books and like they're going bi-weekly. It's like, wow. We've got 2 issues of Venom. Actually, I should note Torun Grundek is writing Venom, and he's taking over Carnage, so he seems to be at the helm of the symbiote universe right now. Miles Morales, Dap got me to try the Cody Ziegler reboot, and it's been good. So I'm a few issues behind, but I'm enjoying that, so I will get that. Red Goblin, Spider-Man India, no. Uncanny Spider-Man, no. Jean Grey, Astonishing X-Man, no. Uncanny Avengers, yes, because it's Jerry Duggan and Javier Garron, but probably low on the priority totem pole unless you're a mutant mark like me. Dark X-Men and Realm of X, yes, although again, I'm not excited about the direction that Marvel is going with the X-verse after essentially they're abandoning the Krakoa era Hickman-verse for other paths, and I'm just not into that. But I read X books generally, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, so I'll keep reading it, but I'm not as excited about them as I have been. You know, when Hickman was in his stride and we had all those books going all at the same time, I really thought that I was championing these books to lots of people that were lapsed X-readers. Right now, I would say, unless you're a hardcore mutant fan, you can pass on the universe. X-Men 27 is a yes. Certainly Alpha Flight, very excited for that. Hopefully that's a pure nostalgia bomb. Children of the Vault, first issue came out this week. Haven't read it yet, but definitely going to be getting that, as well as X-Men number 28. So we've got 2 issues of the X-Men as well. X-Men Red, X-Force yeses. Invincible Iron Man is a no, although it's like an X book these days because he's married to Emma Frost, and as you can see, it's being tied into Fall of X. Immortal X-Men number 16, that looks really great. I love seeing the idea of Apocalypse being back, so hopefully that is a new part of the status quo. And you gotta love a Wolverine book that shows us Cap and Wolverine together. That's always fun, so happy to see that. After what I thought was a very disappointing Wolverine arc the last half a year or so, where he was battling the Beast. Not reading Magneto. Don't read Moon Knight, generally speaking, so there's, I think, three Moon Knight books that I'm not reading. Avengers continues apace. We've got 2 issues of that. I just realized as I'm going through this, Marvel's really stacking up this month. I don't know what's going on, but they're double dipping on a ton of their key books. So it's going to be hard on the pockets if you're a hardcore single issue buyer. Yeah, just kind of dawned on me. 2 issues of the Avengers, starting a new arc. Well, it ends the first arc, starts the new arc. So not reading this stuff. I'm reading Avengers Inc., which I believe is a miniseries, right? No, it's an ongoing. Okay, cool. So hopefully that delivers. Al Ewing doing an Avengers detective book. Love the cover. Very reminiscent. That's the Ron Lim era. Silver Surfer was a book I adored back in the day. That was definitely a must read. So I do like the cover, but I'm not reading the book. I'm not currently reading Thor, but I will get to it. The Al Ewing reboot. Haven't gotten a chance to it yet. Scarlet Witch has continued to be good. This is easily becoming the best book Steve Orlando has ever written. Not reading any of these. I did try the first issue of Black Panther. Just didn't pull me in. So Ghost Rider's a no for me. Blade, Dap and I talked about the first issue when it came out. It was quite enjoyable, and I'm here for that. I think David and Vince are both enjoying the new Incredible Hulk, but I'm not a PKJ fan. I'm not particularly a Travel Foreman fan either, so easy pass for me. Doctor Strange, another book with 2 issues, 8 and 9. They are loading up this month. Wow. Guardians of the Galaxy is a yes. Fantastic Four is a yes. These are no's. Then we're going to get to the Star Wars section, and as I always tell you, I apologize. I don't read the Star Wars stuff. I'm sure some of it is awesome. Some of it's probably not. I have no way of being helpful in that regard. Okay, we're going to get to the collections. A few things. For those of you that are big fans of the Christopher Priest run of Black Panther, which listeners of the show know that both Dap and I love that run. This is the Volume 2 Omnibus. I know sometimes we get numb to these because they're resolicits. This is not a resolicit, so to be clear, this had been previously solicited. They canceled those previous solicits and are resoliciting it. So if you're like me and you pre-ordered it the first time, you are not going to get it unless you reorder it this time. Your old order was canceled. So just keep you mindful of that. Don't think, oh, I've already ordered that. You have not. This is a resolicit. It's not a new printing. It's actually like canceled and you have to reorder. Moon Knight, Mark Spector, Volume 2. That's a no for me. Peter David, X Factor is a yes for me. This is a Volume 3. Ultimate X-Men Volume 2 is a no for me. Thunderbolts Red is an absolute no for me. Predator, the original Years Volume 2 is a no. And then we've got some other collections. You got your Masterworks. I'd love to know who's buying the Masterworks. Like, when they were coming out 30 years ago, they were so revolutionary. But now it's like, I don't know. I don't know anyone that buys them. I don't know anyone that reads them. I'm sure there are some of you out there, though. So let me know. I know Bob Retalbs is a fan of buying all of them, but what didn't he buy? I don't know. We've got some trades. I think trades are like, I don't know who buys trades anymore. I feel like you just might as well read on your iPad if you're not going to buy the issues or get a hardcover, but hey, that's me. Lots and lots of trades. Okay. Epic collections. I know that those are different than trades because these are incredible value. These you get tons and tons of content for a very fair price. Okay. Tons and tons of trades, like I said. And that'll do it. Okay. Well, there you go. There's a walkthrough of Marvel and DC. Some stuff that's piqued my curiosity, but, if I'm being honest, comics are cyclical, and right now DC and Marvel are not my main gravitational tractor beam to the hobby. There's always going to be books from each month that I enjoy reading and stay with, but I don't know that there's anything going on at either place right now that I'm just gobsmackingly excited about. So it's kind of more of just a steady state, like, yeah, comics are good. I read comics. Than holy crap, I can't believe that we get to read these comics. So hopefully you're a little bit more excited about the big two than I am right now. But either way, I hope I gave you some direction into how to structure your orders for the next month. Peace and love.